Long before the modern oceans took shape, before whales sang through deep waters, and before sharks perfected their silent hunts, there was a time when the seas belonged to something far more ancient and far more powerful. While dinosaurs dominated the land, an entirely different world existed beneath the surface. A world ruled by reptiles that had returned to the ocean and evolved into some of the most formidable predators Earth has ever known. These were not fish. They were not mammals. They were air-breathing reptiles, descendants of land-dwelling ancestors, reshaped by millions of years of evolution into creatures perfectly adapted for life in vast prehistoric seas. Their story begins in the aftermath of one of the greatest catastrophes in Earth's history, the Permian mass extinction, around 252 million years ago. This event wiped out nearly 90% of marine species, leaving ecosystems empty and open for new forms of life to emerge. In the Triassic period that followed, life slowly recovered. On land, early dinosaurs began to appear, small and relatively unremarkable at first. But in the oceans, evolution took a dramatic turn. Some reptiles, likely in search of food and less competition, ventured back into the water. Over time, their bodies transformed. Limbs became flippers, tails adapted for propulsion, and lungs remained for breathing air, tying them forever to the surface. Among the earliest of these marine reptiles were the ichthyosaurs. Their name means fish lizards, but they resembled something closer to modern dolphins in shape. Streamlined, fast, and equipped with large eyes, ichthyosaurs were built for speed and precision. Fossil evidence suggests that some species could reach lengths of over 20 meters, making them among the largest marine predators of their time. Their enormous eyes reveal something remarkable. Some ichthyosaurs hunted in deep or low-light conditions, possibly diving to great depths where sunlight barely penetrated. This suggests a level of ecological complexity in ancient oceans that rivals modern marine systems. They likely fed on fish, squid-like creatures called ammonites, and other marine organisms, using their speed to chase down prey in open water. As the Triassic gave way to the Jurassic period, the oceans became even more diverse and dangerous. This was the age when another group of marine reptiles rose to dominance, the plesiosaurs. Unlike the sleek ichthyosaurs, plesiosaurs had a very different body plan. Many species featured long, flexible necks, small heads, and broad, powerful flippers. The purpose of their long necks remains a subject of scientific debate. Some researchers believe they used them to strike quickly at schools of fish, moving their heads with surprising speed while keeping their bodies relatively still. Others suggest that the neck allowed them to approach prey without disturbing the water too much, increasing their chances of a successful hunt. There were also short-necked relatives known as plesiosaurs, which took a completely different approach to survival. With massive skulls, strong jaws, and teeth designed to crush and tear, plesiosaurs were apex predators. Creatures like Liopleurodon and Chronosaurus could reach lengths of over 10 meters and possessed bite forces powerful enough to challenge almost anything in their environment. These predators did not just feed on fish. Fossil evidence indicates they hunted other marine reptiles as well, including their own kind. Bite marks on bones and stomach contents preserved in fossils reveal a brutal, competitive ecosystem where survival depended on strength, speed, and timing. Meanwhile, above the surface, the skies were beginning to change. Early bird-like dinosaurs were evolving, developing feathers and the ability to glide or even fly. Creatures like Archaeopteryx represent a critical moment in evolutionary history, bridging the gap between reptiles and birds. While these early flyers explored the skies, the oceans below remained dominated by reptiles that had taken a completely different evolutionary path. The geography of Earth during this time played a crucial role in shaping these ecosystems. Much of the planet was covered by shallow seas, and the continents were arranged differently than today. Warm climates and high sea levels created vast marine habitats, allowing marine reptiles to spread across the globe. Fossils of ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs have been found on multiple continents. indicating their widespread distribution. But the dominance of these ocean monsters was not permanent. The Earth is constantly changing, and with change comes pressure. During the late Jurassic and into the Cretaceous period, new competitors began to appear. Among them were early sharks and advanced bony fish, which evolved more efficient swimming techniques and reproductive strategies. At the same time, another group of marine reptiles entered the scene, the mosasaurs. Unlike ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs, mosasaurs were more closely related to modern lizards and snakes. They emerged relatively late, during the Cretaceous period, but quickly rose to become some of the most powerful predators in the ocean. Mosasaurs had long, streamlined bodies, powerful tails, and jaws lined with sharp, conical teeth. Some species, like Mosasaurus itself, could exceed 15 meters in length. Their double-hinged jaws allowed them to swallow large prey whole, a feature similar to modern snakes. They fed on fish, ammonites, seabirds, and even other marine reptiles. By this point, the oceans had become incredibly dynamic ecosystems, filled with a wide range of life forms competing for survival. The balance of power shifted constantly, driven by evolutionary innovation and environmental change. Yet, despite their success, all of these marine reptiles shared a common vulnerability. They lived in a world that was slowly moving toward another major transformation. Around 66 million years ago, at the end of the Cretaceous period, a catastrophic event reshaped life on Earth once again. A massive asteroid impact, combined with intense volcanic activity and climate shifts, triggered what is known as the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event. The effects were global. Dust and debris blocked sunlight, temperatures dropped, and food chains collapsed both on land and in the oceans. Marine ecosystems were hit hard. Plankton populations declined, affecting everything that depended on them. As the base of the food web disappeared, larger predators began to starve. The great marine reptiles, ichthyosaurs, plesiosaurs, and mosasaurs, could not survive these rapid changes. Ichthyosaurs had already begun to decline before this event, possibly due to earlier environmental pressures and competition. But plesiosaurs and mosasaurs persisted until the very end, vanishing alongside the dinosaurs in one of Earth's most dramatic mass extinctions. Their disappearance marked the end of an era that had lasted over 150 million years. In their place, new forms of life began to rise. Mammals, which had existed in the shadows during the age of reptiles, started to diversify. In the oceans, early whales would eventually evolve, filling ecological roles once occupied by marine reptiles. Today, the oceans still hold large predators, but nothing quite like the reptilian giants of the past. Modern marine mammals breathe air and nurse their young. Sharks rely on entirely different biological systems. The ancient combination of reptilian physiology and marine adaptation that defined ichthyosaurs, plesiosaurs, and mosasaurs no longer exists. What remains are fossils, fragments of bone preserved in stone, scattered across continents that have shifted over millions of years. These fossils provide a window into a lost world, allowing scientists to reconstruct the lives of creatures that once ruled the seas. There is something profound in this story. These animals were not just powerful, they were highly specialized, perfectly adapted to their environments. Yet even the most dominant species can disappear when conditions change too quickly or too dramatically. The oceans that once echoed with the movement of these giants are still here, but they are fundamentally different. The creatures that inhabit them now are part of a new chapter in Earth's history, shaped by the same forces of evolution and extinction that governed the past. In the end, the story of these ocean monsters is not just about fear or power. It is about transformation. It is about how life responds to opportunity, how it adapts to new environments, and how it ultimately faces the limits of survival. Beneath the surface of today's oceans lies a history written over hundreds of millions of years, a history of rise and fall, of dominance and disappearance. And within that history, the age of marine reptiles stands as one of the most extraordinary chapters ever to unfold on this planet. If you want to see more lost worlds and ancient creatures, subscribe now. Dino Horror World.